This 2019 Brazilian romance story begins with a close-up of Lucas, a boy with dark brown hair and a big tattoo on his right arm, working in a garden. Two women, his aunt, Lourdes, and her friend, Sonia, talk about how much it concerns them that Lucas is always alone in the garden or at the house playing piano. They find him a very lonely boy. Lourdes says it's just the way he is. She confesses that her efforts to make him socialize and leave his comfort zone all became dead ends. Lucas still isolates himself in his room or his garden. Sonia thinks it would be great if he found a girlfriend or some friends, just so he doesn't spend his entire life stuck in one place. Inside the house, Lourdes and Sonia conduct a Bible reading and faith-sharing prayers and songs in a small group. Lourdes proposes someone to offer the next song. Lucas is at the piano, and as soon as he starts playing, the scene cuts to everyone leaving their house and a girl from that very same group to ask Lucas for piano lessons. He says that they can arrange for that. She kisses him on the cheek and he feels weird about it. The girl leaves and Lourdes asks her nephew for a conversation. She begins by saying that their household is a faithful one and that in her commitment with God, she became a missionary. Lucas acknowledges everything she is saying and lets her know that he is aware of all of that. Lourdes then continues by saying that she has a cousin with a son, which makes the son his cousin as well. The aunt announces that this relative will be needing to spend some time living with them in their house. Lucas finds it a very good idea and that he does not mind it at all. She reveals that they are going through a family issue, that the boy's stepmother called her panicking, saying that if the boy went back home the father would kill him. So she wanted to help them out by letting them stay there until everything calmed down. Mario, his cousin, would arrive the next day and will stay in the same room as Lucas. Lourdes also says that she will be in a retreat, so she will not be home but trusts her nephew to take care of everything while she is away. Lucas asks Lourdes why Mario's father is so upset with him, to which she replies by saying that he is getting out of jail and that his father does not want him coming back to the house. This raised some questions and concerns from Lucas that will be spending days with that person under the same roof and having to treat him as an equal despite whatever crime he had committed. He gets scared, but his aunt says that no matter what he did in his past, forgiveness is God's will. She hopes that this relative can find his way back with the power and the faith of God. She expects him to be guided for good. Lucas is very reticent about this decision, but his aunt's mind is made up. She prepares the extra bed and sprays some water, praying to God to protect them both. We see Lucas with the girl from the church group playing for her, and she says how much she loves hearing him play. It is indeed godly, the way he plays. She proceeds to give him a music sheet for him to play. When he starts, she tries singing along and her singing is awful. Looking at him the whole time, she sings and he expresses no reactions at all. As soon as he finishes, she jumps in his lap, glorifying God over and over again. Lucas is uncomfortable and just awkwardly looks at her, hoping she'd leave. The scene cuts to him going to bed and waking up the next morning by himself with a note from his aunt, saying she left everything set up and the pantry full for the boys while she is away. She mentions that she locked her bedroom door and for it to be opened only in a case of emergency. In a slow-motion shot with a heavy soundtrack, we are introduced to Mario, who is smoking and brings with him 2 bags. He claps in order to get Lucas' attention for him to open the door. They greet each other with a hug and Mario thanks him for letting him stay at the house. Lucas tells his new arrival that their aunt couldn't be there to greet him because she traveled. The cousin appreciates Lucas telling him and says that it's not a problem, that he understands. Lucas gives his guest a house tour and mentions that it's a simple house but it feels like home. The last point of the tour is the room that now these 2 boys share. Mario thinks it's perfect and says it's way better than in prison, thanking his cousin again for the hospitality. Mario then says that if there is a shower in this house, that he'd kiss his cousin in the mouth, and we get to see Lucas having a completely different reaction than he had with the girl from the church group. He looks shocked but smiles through his teeth, saying that they had a shower, and showing where it was. He explains the trick with the shower and they talk about leaving everything clean. It's in that moment where Mario asks Lucas why he was living there with his aunt. Lucas reveals that his parents passed away when he was a kid and that his aunt took him in and he has been living with her since. Mario shows his respects and shows his cousin that he understands his pain by saying that his own mother had passed away as well due to drinking problems. When Lucas steps away to get his cousin some shampoo and shower gel, Mario starts undressing and we see the camera focusing on his abs and crotch. Once Lucas turns around, he sees his cousin completely and keeps on looking at his genitals. When Mario tries to talk to him, Lucas quickly leaves the bathroom, leaving his cousin showering. The 2 boys share a meal to which Mario says that it's delicious and that he loves it. Then he offers himself to wash the dishes and clean around the house because that is something that he enjoys doing. They end up deciding that they can share tasks so that both can do their part. Mario washes the dishes and dances around the house. He then lights up his cigarette and lays down on the couch, smoking. At this point, Lucas is with the girl he teaches the piano to and is explaining the notes to her. She looks confused and dumb to make him touch her and show her by holding onto her fingers on the keyboard. She once again jumps to his lap and dances around, being weird. Lucas feels uncomfortable. The girls leave and the 2 cousins have a conversation about how both of them love music. It's nighttime and Mario is asleep, completely coverless and with his hand down his underwear, and we see Lucas just looking at him while he sleeps. Mario suddenly opens his eyes and scares Lucas, asking if he was still looking at him. Lucas denies it and turns around. Mario gets up and says that he is hearing things and that he is scared, and asks his cousin if they can pull the beds together and sleep holding hands. He says yes, and they sleep holding hands. It's the next morning, and Mario asks Lucas if he needs help with anything. After his cousin denies that offer, he asks if he wants to play cards. Lucas accepts it, and they both go play cards in their room. While they are playing, they have a conversation about why he ended up in jail. Mario says that it was for dealing. He adds that it was unfair because the only he consumes is alcohol, and he only drinks it on rare occasions. He claims that he was arrested because he was defending a friend of his. Lucas wins the game. Mario says he needs something to motivate him to win, so he proposes they trade gifts. Like a bet, the loser has to do what they agree on. Mario asks Lucas to dance a samba song if he loses, and if he wins, his cousin will have to be the one doing it. Lucas does not want to play with that bet, so he asks his cousin to forget about that and just play, and Mario taunts him, saying that he is actually just scared to lose. Lucas still rejects the idea, and Mario starts telling him about his childhood dream of having the Monopoly game. But he was very poor, so he and his friends created several games, naughty ones, to entertain themselves. He asks Lucas if he had already played the Passa Carta. The objective of the game is to pass the card around the group using their mouths, without it falling. He says he hasn't played it before. He mentions a variety of games, naughty games, that he used to play back then. No parents ever suspected that their kids would be playing such things amongst them. After an awkward silence, Mario starts asking a lot of questions about his relative's life. He says that his cousin looks like a homebody, an introvert. Lucas confirms it and asks if he has a girlfriend, or if he is gay. Lucas looks uncomfortable with the question and limits himself to just laugh like it was a joke. Mario admits that he thinks about naughty things a lot, and his cousin says he does too, but Mario does not believe him and says that he is way too good of a kid to be thinking about things like that. Lucas tells him that he is wrong, and although he seems pretty innocent, he has a lot going on inside his head, a lot of dirty thoughts. The guest tells Lucas that the games that he played with his friends are normal games to play with cousins. They both agree, and Mario reinforces the idea that now Lucas has a cousin to play those games with. The conversation is interrupted by the pressure cooker that they forgot they turned on, exploding in the kitchen. They run to the kitchen and their dinner is ruined. They both eat some of the cake that the aunt had left before she went on her trip, on the porch. While they are eating, Mario explains how he used to work as a cashier in a sort of lottery house. His cousin asks him why it was a sort of lottery house, and he reveals that it was an illegal bet house. They had no license or approval to be gambling. He confesses to Lucas that his real dream is to be able to make money from drawing, which is what he really loves to do. Mario says he likes to draw comics, mostly, and offers to show some of his drawings to his cousin. Lucas asks why they can't see it now since they are not doing anything, so the guest gets up and picks out some of his comics to show Lucas. Mario feels quite uncomfortable and shy, but still shows one of his drawings to Lucas, who finds it very cool, but he wonders why he hasn't written any dialogue in the comics. He said he just didn't but wants to. The brown-haired boy with the tattoo asks his cousin if the drawing is supposed to be him and if he would like to have superpowers. His answer is yes to both questions. Amongst all the powers, he wanted to be able to be invisible, freeze people, or fly. Making a made-up move, Mario tries freezing Lucas, wanting him to stay still. At first, his cousin does not want to play along, but then he does freeze. Mario kisses his cousin on the mouth and runs off. It catches Lucas off guard. He looks shocked and surprised, and goes to confront the troublemaker that had kissed him. Mario says it's a normal cousin's show of affection, and he proceeds by asking Lucas to play a song on the piano for him. In the next scene, we see Lucas playing a beautiful piece on his piano, and his cousin gets really emotional with how beautiful it was played. He says that he did beautifully and that he really is talented at the piano. Lucas confesses that he likes heavy metal but does not listen to it because of his very protective and faithful Catholic aunt. Since she isn't there, he decides to play one and dances along with it, while his cousin is on the couch, just watching him being goofy and enjoying the music. Then, they both go outside the house and dance together. His cousin wants to prank call Sonia, their aunt's friend. She was sleeping when they called, but when she answered, they began by saying that she was participating in a promotion called Madness Pleasure. All she had to do was moan those 2 words to win the prize. The boys keep going with the prank and Sonia falls for it, moaning the words that the boys want her to. She hangs up the phone and goes to sleep. It cuts to a scene of both boys dancing again together around the house. Lucas and Mario seem to be drinking and having a great time, just enjoying the music and the company. They share quite a few hugs and laughs, and then we see Mario drunk and Lucas laying on the couch. Mario tells his cousin a joke. Getting closer, they lock eyes as if they were going to kiss, and Mario just falls on Lucas's chest. Lucas wakes up the next day alone, heads to the kitchen and pours out some milk. He notices that Mario is sleeping in their room, and so he sips his milk and stares at his sleeping cousin. He finishes his milk and decides to leave the bedroom door. We then see the two boys hanging out outside the house near the garden. They have a conversation where Lucas says he does not remember how Mario went to bed, and Mario jokes at him by asking if it doesn't hurt for his cousin to sit. Lucas freaks out, but it was all a joke. Mario laughs a lot and the conversation ends. Both boys go for a run. Lucas is tired and asks his cousin if he believes in any religion. Mario says that he believes there is something but doesn't believe in a certain godly figure. Mario proceeds to take his shirt off and then his underwear. They are in the middle of the field, no civilization to be seen. Mario is and Lucas says he hears some steps. He quickly grabs his cousin's clothes and runs off. Mario runs after Lucas and they both get to the house. Mario wants to do the same thing to Lucas, steal his underwear and leave him. He starts looking for his cousin, and then when he finds him, Lucas is and says that Mario doesn't need to take his underwear because he already did. He grabs Mario by his necklace and pulls him closer. Mario says he is crazy about Lucas and they share a passionate kiss. We see these two boys kissing. They go to bed and keep on making out until they are interrupted by Julia, the girl from the piano lessons. She is way too early for her lesson and Lucas lets her know that. Julia leaves and the two cousins proceed with what they were doing. We see them in the bath together and getting intimate for hours and hours. They seem to be genuinely in love. The scene cuts to Lucas teaching Julia the piano. He looks relieved and happy. When he starts playing the piano, Julia touches him intimately, and Lucas quickly asks if she is okay and why she did that. She denies touching him. After the lesson is over, Mario is drawing and hides it when Lucas comes close, saying he cannot see his drawing. They kiss and Lucas goes away. He then finds the drawing and it's him, playing the piano. He feels happy and decides to join his cousin, who is sound asleep, in bed. He takes off his clothes and joins his cousin. We see someone unlocking the door. Someone gets inside the house. It is their aunt. Mario realizes that Lucas is by his side and turns to him. Their aunt goes to check on them and finds them in the same bed. She doesn't see that Lucas is or that they were kissing. At first, she is shocked by them sleeping together, but then thanks the Holy Mary for allowing these cousins to bond. She closes the door and goes to the kitchen. After she locks herself in her own room, she mentions how boring the trip was. We get to see the next morning. Mario wakes up first, glances at Lucas and kisses him on the cheek. Lucas then wakes up and they kiss. Mario gets and then starts hearing something outside. They see their aunt sweeping the leaves from the garden. We see these three characters having breakfast together, and the aunt tells the boys how happy she was when she got home and saw them both sleeping together, like a cousin bond. During that speech, Lucas spits out his drink, and Mario covers for him, saying that they watched a scary movie, and that's why they slept together, because Lucas was very scared. His aunt confirms that since he was a kid, he was scared of ghosts, so he would sleep with her out of fear. Lourdes asks Mario if Lucas treated him right. The boys glance at each other, and Mario says more than right. He also mentions that the pressure cooker exploded, but the aunt doesn't seem too bothered with that news. Mario once again thanks them both for the hospitality. He says that he will gladly help around the house or pay the bills, whatever he can do to help while he is living with the two. Lourdes says he doesn't have to do anything, as he is, in fact, a guest. He's only staying for a little while, so he does not need to worry about those things. They all smile and that scene ends. We see the two boys arriving at a location. Lucas knocks at the door and a man opens the door. Lucas tells him that Mario will be staying with them for a while and that he is a dog walker, so he just wanted to know if the man needed his services. The man doesn't even allow Lucas to finish. He happily accepts the deal, instructing him to be there every afternoon. He says that Frank, his dog, needs to run every day. They walk away, happy with the successful idea to get Mario a job. They then take Frank out for a walk. While both boys are at the park with Frank, Mario asks Lucas if he would ever want a dog. Lucas starts fantasizing about Mario in a dog costume, doing everything by command. It's a very provocative fantasy, and he is brought to reality by Mario repeating the same question, if he would like to have a dog. Lucas says he would really love to. 2 weeks later, the family is playing cards together and they seem very happy. Under the table, the two cousins touch their feet together. The scene cuts to Mario fixing Lucas' hair. They overhear a conversation from Lourdes saying that she will find a way to take care of the two boys. Although she is in debt, she will manage. We then see her crying in her room and a note appearing from under the door. Mario gave her money for the rent. She thanks him. He lets her know that he is getting well paid to walk Frank and that 2 more neighbors have already asked him to walk their own dogs, and that he will stay and help financially for as long as she needs. Lourdes is very emotional and he says he'll give her the money just so she can pay her own debt. She lets him know that he brought happiness to their household. Lucas is finally happy, in a way that she had never seen before. She hugs Mario and thanks him for everything he has done while sobbing in his arms. Mario and Lucas go to their room and lock the door. Lucas seems to notice that Mario is way too happy, and asks what happened and if he had good news. His cousin lets him know that Lourdes said some very cute things and that he thinks he is staying for longer than expected. Lucas asks to celebrate. Julia appears saying she is doing a tradition called Cosme and Devout, but Lucas lets her know that it's only next month. She leaves once again after being caught trying to get Lucas's attention. Mario says that the girl is crazy and Lucas simply sighs. Both boys are now helping their aunt in the garden. We see Julia sneaking around spying on Lucas. The boys get intimate in a field and Julia, who is still spying on them, says that she will tell everyone about this. Their aunt and the entire village. The boys do not know she saw them, but we see Julia trying to get their attention so that they know that she was there and that she saw everything. Unsuccessful, the boys think the screams came from a random animal and so they continue making out. Mario tells Lucas that he wants to set up Aunt Lourdes with Frank's owner. They continue kissing and Julia wonders if she can join in. She keeps watching them and the scene cuts to Julia trying to call on evil spirits to hurt them and we see her cutting their picture in half. Mr. Emilio is invited for the family's game night where he plays alongside Lourdes. He mentions how great of a team they make and Lourdes agrees with him. He compliments her, saying that she is a very good player. He stays for dinner. We see the four characters having fun, enjoying each other's company. Mr. Emilio and Lourdes dance together and laugh while the boys comment on how happy she looks. Lucas tells Mario he loves him and does not want him to leave. He confesses that he came to their house and made everything better. Lourdes is getting ready to meet Mr. Emilio again and we see her trying to change her looks and trying different things to feel more pretty. Mario walks in and encourages her to use lipstick and helps her put it on. He then leaves and Lourdes is smiling at herself in the mirror. Julia is in her room walking around and looking like she wants to have her revenge. Then we see the church group has reunited again and Lourdes asks if anyone would like to dedicate a prayer. Sonia interrupts by saying that Lourdes' hair looked good and she told Sonia that Mario was the one who helped her give it a little change. He smiles. We see Julia joining the group and apologizing for taking so long. While they pray, she asks Sonia to tell her what time it was. Sonia grabs her bag and can't find her phone. Sonia announces her phone was stolen. Sonia says she just had it with her. Julia gets up and incriminates Mario. Julia announces that Mario was actually an ex-con and the whole group is shocked. Lucas denies it, but Julia tells everyone to search online. She isn't done and tells Lourdes that she has no idea what has been happening under her roof. She reveals that she found out something else. They find her phone amongst Mario's things. Mario says that she was the one who put it there when she got up to go to the bathroom. She backfires at him by calling him a bunch of names. Lucas defends him and finds out a way to prove that Mario is innocent. He said that if the person who stole it tried to unlock it, the phone took a picture of the robber. When he searches, he finds her picture. She finally lets everyone know that they got intimate. Lourdes and the whole church group are shocked. She says that she saw them by the waterfall getting intimate, and that she couldn't even capture it because of the gravity of the situation. Everyone reveals to be perplexed and Julia asks them to let the people know if she is lying about that. Mario asks Julia if she only did this because Lucas did not want to be with her, to which she insists on him replying to her question. The church group starts pestering them with offensive words. Lourdes seems disappointed, but none of them know what to say. Mario then apologizes to both Lucas and Lourdes and announces that he is leaving. The aunt turns to the group and tells him to shut up. She reveals that she knew all along what was happening the moment she saw them sleeping in the same bed. She says she didn't care because she could see the love and the care. As long as they were happy, she didn't care. She says that in the Bible it says that God is love and that if they love each other they are in the arms of God. Since Sonia is the person renting the place to Lourdes, she wants them to leave her house, so Lourdes says she will do it gladly. The church group leaves and we see Mario, Lucas and Lourdes moving in with Mr. Emilio, who is now the aunt's boyfriend. All of them get there happily ever after.